All right. I think we are good to go. I am just going to wait to ensure that I can hear myself in the stream. Um, just because YouTube's a bit delayed on that end. So give it 10 seconds from this point and we should be good. All right. I
Yes,
think
excellent.
we are
Okay.
I'm going to get rid of that one. So thank you everyone for joining. Today we are going to be taking a look at VTubing and specifically VTubing for the Webaverse character studio characters. VTubing is becoming a more and more prevalent part of digital identity. It has, kind of been proliferated throughout Asia, but is slowly moving towards the West. And, a lot of people are becoming interested, especially at the intersection of of NFT communities, and specifically for creating virtual content, and kind of taking your NFT and being personified with it. A lot of this has to do with collections starting to make 3D avatars available rather than just 2D PFPs. So, we can take a look at obviously Webaverse being one of those collections or one of those platforms that are starting to integrate 3D characters. We can look at CloneX. We can look at I'm a Degen. That there are a lot that are starting to kind of catch on to the fact that 3D is important, especially as it pertains to visual identity, and are wanting to bring these personas to life, or the community is. So, what I'm pretty sure that most people here know what VTubing is, but I kind of am going to go through today one approach of VTubing, again, specifically for the Webverse Character Studio. Now, Webaverse Character Studio, I'm going to hop in there now, is a platform for you to create and customize any given avatar that you want. So I'm going to run through this, and everything that we are doing today, I'm going to do from scratch. So I have nothing, pre-baked, ready to go. We're going to take it from scratch and go through the entire process. So hop into studios.webverse.ai if you are following. Otherwise, you can just watch and we can take it slowly. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a neural hacker character. So I'm just going to click here. This will give me a screen that will allow me to create my character. Now, I've developed one already, but I'm going to go through some of the parameters that you can change, and we're going to create one from scratch. So we're going to start with appearance. I'm going to zoom in. Oh, there we go. The reason I'm zooming in is just I like to see the icons a bit bigger and share that. So clicking on the head, I'm going to get I'm going to make it extremely basic. I am not going to have hair. That looks about right. I'm going to go through. We can choose skin color. We can choose our clothing. We've got the outer, the chest, and just to make things very simple, I'm going to go very plain here. I'm going to take that yellow t-shirt. Actually, no, I'm gonna choose something. There we go. That's what I'm after. Beautiful. All right, there we go. Very sharp. Can select some custom pants. What do I want? I want green on green. Why not? Let's just go all out. And I am going to get some different boots. Let's go black ones, and there we go. That is actually, you know what? Gonna change my jacket. Don't like that one that much. I know I'm just being pedantic here, but if we're gonna be VTubing, we need a vibe with our character, right? There we go. Uh, yeah, all right. Let's stick with that. I'm going to zoom back out and you can see it a bit high fidelity. This is our character. So I'm going to go next. And something awesome I think is awesome about Webaverse's character creator is that you have the ability to tap into uh, some AI within the user interface. So you can go in, you can program your character, you can give it a name, voice, preferred greeting, bio, and then some information about this character. So I've already written that out, so I did have something pre-baked, but I'm going to go next. And just before we do anything else, I'm going to chat with it, and I'm going to say, hey, GM, what's your... Actually, no, I'm going to see if the microphone works. It may not because I'm using the microphone to stream, but we're going to test it out. So, hey there, what's going on? Night Owl. That's an interesting name. What are you getting up to tonight? Great. I am actually doing a VTuber tutorial at the moment, and I'm going to take your visual representation and stream with it. What do you know about VTubing? Okay. I'm going to stop there, but you get the gist. So going back, and then I'll go next. So now I have my created character. We can pan around, we can zoom in, zoom out, but it gives me three options. I can download a GLB, unoptimized GLB, so basically a very high quality GLB, or I can download a VRM. So now we're going to touch on the what are these, and more importantly, we're going to zoom in on what a VRM is. So a VRM is a 3D avatar file format. It is a standard that is interoperable across platforms. So if you take the likes of Ready Player Me, or you take different characters from different avatars from different platforms, or different games, you will most likely not have a consistent structure to what the avatar looks like. You have different skeletons, you have different naming conventions for different bones of the avatar. You might have different blend shapes in different areas. You may have unique bones that aren't compatible in other places. What the VRM standard does is formalizes what the avatar standard is. And that means that you can use a VRM file to bring your avatar not into just one place, but into many different places without the need of centralized um, a centralized platform to distribute that avatar. So, Ready Player Me, great avatar system, well optimized, has a ton of integrations, but that is a centralized set of integrations where Ready Player Me needs to be incorporated into these platforms in order for the avatar to work. And because of that, the Ready Player Me visual needs to be, you can't just go in and have anyone upload their own character into Ready Player Me at this point in time. You have to use the character creator for Ready Player Me. The VRM is not centralized. It is a open standard, which means that I can go in and create a Webaverse avatar. I can create a Clone X avatar. I can create a pig or a fridge or whatever I want, and it doesn't have to meet a particular visual standard, and I can utilize that VRM across many different environments. So just to share some of those environments, I might need to do a little bit of digging here. Which applications? There we go. So, this is just a subset of applications that you can use VRM in. A lot of different platforms have kind of caught on to why VRM is important. And so I highly I think that a lot of different platforms will start incorporating VRM over time, and this list will grow. So, you have live streaming tools, you have motion capture, animation, photography, metaverse platforms, and games. So, I'd take a look at this if you're interested in where you can use your VRM. But today, obviously, we'll be focusing on VTubing applications. So, now that I have my character, I'm just going to click VRM, and that's going to download that VRM file for me. So I'm anon, and that's what we're going to be using. Number 3, I better remember that. Now, there's going to be a couple of tools that I'm going to go through today. And these tools are specific to, I guess, my preferred setup. There's a lot of different VTubing tools on the market, as you saw on that list. So there's a lot of different approaches you can take, and each person will have their own workflow, their own setup. I'm just going to take you through my preferred workflow and another option that may make sense for you to kind of give you an alternative. So I'm going to introduce you to a platform called vMagic Mirror. A lot of the M3 crew are the ones that kind of introduced me to this, and I think it's really one of the most comprehensive solutions available as it pertains to VTubing with a VRM avatar. The reason being is it's got a ridiculous amount of settings that we'll go through in a second, but you can download a free version that will take you to a website called Booth, which is a marketplace for a lot of different VTubing and virtual production, virtual assets, and you can just download it for free here. But as you'll see, there are a couple of things that you can only use in the full edition. Full edition's not that expensive. 500 so just under $20 at this point in time. I recommend it just because if you want the full experience and connecting different things, that will be of benefit. So now that we have our avatar and we have vMagic Mirror downloaded, I'm going to start up vMagic Mirror down here, give it a click, and you'll see that it was made with Unity. The VRM standards, just quickly hopping back, they have an open source Unity plugin called UniVRM. So a lot of people are building in Unity when they're developing platforms for VRM. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So this is what will load up when you start vMagic Mirror, and you'll see that there's 2 screens. There's a settings screen, and then there's kind of your viewport. So I'm just going to full screen that. And the first window that you get to, the home window, will allow you to load different, load it from your PC, and this is kind of important, I wasn't planning on running through it, but you can load from Vroid Hub. I'm going to go back to browser and actually look up Vroid Hub. So Vroid Hub is created by a company called Pixiv, Pixiv. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But what it allows you to do is kind of similar to a social media profile, but for different avatars that you may have. So, you may just want one avatar that you're using for VTubing, but you may want to, you may be an NFT collector that owns multiple VRM files from different 3D collections. You may want a place to just have all of that available online. You may not want to have to deal with GitHub and, utilize manual downloads for that. So instead, Vroid Hub is a place that you can go in, you can submit a character, you can drag and drop your VRM file in. So, what? Why not? Let's just do this. Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't really want to go through these errors at the moment, but give it a test, see if it works. It should work. I do it with all of my VRMs. But the reason you would use something like this is because a lot of platforms that utilize the VRM standard actually have Vroid SDK incorporated into it. So rather than having to drag and drop a load from your PC each time, you can just go to your Vroid Hub account and import your avatar directly. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to load my character. You'll see that I don't have an image here. There'd typically be a thumbnail associated with it, but there are different restrictions placed within the VRM file. So the VRM file not only has a specific set of standards around the, avatar, around the skeleton, around the naming conventions of the bones, but there's also metadata associated with what you can use it for. So let's say if you have your avatar and you upload it to Vroid Hub and you are able, and you set it to be public, you can actually create metadata that says what you can or what someone can or cannot use the avatar for. So this is just the pop-up screen. You'll see the author is Webaverse, the URL is webaverse.com, and I'm all good with this, obviously, so I'm going to load in the character. And there we go. That is a nice, quick, and easy way to get our character in. Now, for the million other settings, you'll see that there is this window, but we also have an additional settings window. So there's a lot to go through, and I'm going to be cognizant of time. So I'm going to go through things relatively shortly. In this, you can also save your settings files and load them as well. So we'll probably do that at the end. So when we go into streaming, you will see that I can make this a transparent window, which is typically what we would want to use for VTubing, but we could also select a background specific image if you're wanting to do a backdrop of like a room or a different render of some kind. You'll also see that as I'm moving my head, I am moving on screen. So I am moving on camera. It is moving on screen. And that is because it is currently tracking my face with my camera and my laptop, and I'm using, I can calibrate that. So if I go off to the side, I can calibrate that and it will go back to the middle. And I can change where the person is looking, the avatar is looking, whether it's a mouse user or kind of just staring blankly. I'm going to do it at the user. I'm going to go sit up straight and recalibrate. Perfect. Another really quick, simple thing, just going back to the home screen quickly, is you can use this adjust size by VRM. That kind of takes a VRM, which can be like a very big VRM or a very small character, and it will automatically map the setup to what it thinks is best for the current character specs. Great. You'll notice that my mouth isn't moving, and that is because I do not have this enabled. But before enabling it, I want to discuss what it does quickly. So lip sync basically takes your audio input and it recognizes what you are saying in terms of the vowels you use, the consonants that you use, basically just that. And it will pass the raw audio input. And if I am saying it will map it to what is called the A blend shape, or match to the visemes of the face when I say A. And this is awesome because it doesn't require any type of external tracking. I really like it for something quick and easy. So I'm going to enable that now, and you'll see what I'm saying. So I am going to say A, I'm going to say ooh, and you see the slight differences in the way my mouth is moving, which is great. It's not the best that we can get, but it's pretty damn good. The one thing to say about this is that because it's picking up audio, if I have any external audio going, it will pick that up too. So if someone is speaking to me and I'm doing a VTuber, say, interview, if someone's speaking at me, then it will pick up that audio unless I'm wearing headphones and the microphone can't hear me, but it'll pick up that audio and apply the mouth movement to my avatar. So, not ideal if you're dealing with external sound sources. So, I'm just going to give a demonstration of this by tapping my laptop. So, I'm going to stop talking, but I'm going to tap. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try that again. So you see, not speaking, but I am tapping. It's picking up the sound and it's applying what it thinks those vowels are to my face. So I'm going to show you an alternative way to do that in a second, but I'm going to keep it for now. So I can, with motion, I can just keep hands down at all time. That's great if you're just wanting to stand, but you see that I'm going to start typing on my keyboard. It's going to automatically map my, oh, whoops. It's going to automatically map what I'm doing on my keyboard. So if I go A, S, D, F, G, H, it changes the way the arms and fingers move as it corresponds to the keys I'm using. I'm also going to circle my mouse, and you can see that as the mouse circles, my hand is moving, which is really brilliant. It's, the lip sync, the keyboard mouse tracker, they're really cool functionalities if you just want something quick and easy, which is a great way to start out. You'll also see in the view that I have this gamepad option here. So I'm not going to go into this in too much depth, but you have the ability to, say, connect an Xbox, PlayStation controller via Bluetooth to your computer, and it will track the motion on the controller. I have a controller right in front of me at the moment. I don't think it's going to pick it up because it's not synced, but we'll see. Okay, it did work. It worked perfectly. That's excellent. So I'm going to press the triggers now. Boom, boom, boom. This is mapped exactly to an Xbox controller, and I'll show you how it's mapped in a second. The desktop color-based lighting. So if I hide this quickly, and if I go to what's a okay, I'm just color black. I'm going to go here. I'm going to open this image in a new tab, and you'll see that I get shaded the color of what the screen is showing primarily. If I go back and I say color pink, um, open that, boom, and now I'm pink. Now this is really a really cool effect when used in the right way because it basically enables you to be fake lit. You're basically creating a fake lighting setup by utilizing what you're seeing in your scene. So if you have a background of like a dark room, cyberpunk type style, it's going to pick up the primary colors utilized in that image and apply that to the avatar. So I really like that. It's not always beneficial, but it's a cool feature. Again, really smart way of developing this out for easy use. So I'm going to get rid of that for now. There's also different typing effects. So if I start typing, I could create lightning, boom, boom, boom. I can also have butterflies. That's fun. So yeah, there are a couple of the view settings. Now the camera is really where we can kind of equip things and set things up appropriately. Where am I? So if I go into free camera mode, this will allow me to rotate my scene. And it will allow me to pan across, it will allow me to rotate my character or the camera view, allow me to zoom in and zoom out. and it will allow me to create different save slots. So if this is, if I'm kind of thinking I'm going to be here and I'm going to be VTubing here, maybe a bit zoomed out, like that. That's a nice little setup. I'm going to go and I'll quick save that. And then maybe I want a more zoomed in version just of my face. I can do that and I'll save that in slot 2. And then I'm going to just have a top-down view of me. I don't know why, but maybe you want this. And I'm going to save that in slot 3. We'll come back to what those slots could do in a bit, but I just also want to show you the functionality of the game controller. So I am pressing AX, pressing all the buttons, and it is corresponding to the controller. So it's just cool if you're gaming and you're using VTubing for gaming. So I'm now going to press Shift 1, Control Shift 1, sorry. Okay, no, I'm not. I haven't set that up yet. I'll set that up in a second. Now I've returned to my standard view, and I'm going to disconnect my controller now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to remove the batteries. Okay, there we go. That's all changed now. So I'm going to get rid of the gamepad. Okay. Back to the settings, or the first layout of settings. So next is device layout. So I might want to kind of adjust things slightly. I want my mouse down here. I want my arm out. So this is a little bit more natural when I'm typing, kind of go bent elbows and a bit lower. This is kind of me looking down at how I am now at this desk and replicating this. I'm going to bring this down a bit further and push this in a little bit more. And yeah, this is kind of how I'm at my desk currently. So we can do, position, rotation, and scale. So if I want to make a bigger keyboard, I can do that. Don't know why I'd want to do that, but I can. Can do things based off of the world scale, the world coordinates or local. So currently I'm running locally, but you see if I change to world, that just makes things based off the current way that the avatar is positioned within the 3D space. So, this is very important to setting up how your character is functioning, how your avatar is functioning. I'm going to uncheck that now. So we're all set up, ready to go. And then word to motion. I honestly don't use this, but I looked at it right before this and it's super, super handy. So if I go back here, you can use the numbers on your keyboard and that can associate things to different motions. So I'm going to go 1 through 9 and you can just see what happens. Excellent, excellent. So if you are looking for quick little reactions, maybe you are streaming and people in the chat are congratulating you. Maybe you get a new subscriber. That is a really quick and easy way to map different keys to different actions. Awesome. Now, that's kind of the streaming page done. We also have the ability to incorporate an external tracker. I'm just checking what I'm doing on time. Ugh, all right, there's a lot to get through, and I might run a bit over, but I really want to make this as comprehensive as possible. So the external tracker is a way to implement a second camera into your setup. With the way I typically do VTubing through Magic Mirror, I have an external tracker, and it is an application that I run on my iPhone called iFacial Mocap. So you can download it here, and I'll provide the links after this. But iFacial Mocap, I'm just wondering if you can get a preview of what this looks like. Okay, so it takes the iPhone camera and it maps it to I'm gonna get this wrong, but it basically maps your facial expressions in a uh, really well done fashion utilizing ARKit within the iPhone. So it's very expressive. It's not just me talking and the microphone picking up the vowels and applying that to the different blend shapes. It's linking 52 different blend shapes the iPhone is seeing. So the eyebrows, the nose, the kind of snarl, the mouth opening, the uh, all these different aspects of facial motion, and then it's sending it back via Wi-Fi to vMagic Mirror. So I can't unfortunately show you what this looks like on my iPhone. So you're just going to have to trust that it's working. But I'm going to load iFacial mocap right now on my screen. I'm going to put it to the side of my screen. So I now have my laptop screen with my iPhone on the side. And I'm going to go back to vMagic Mirror settings. I'll enable this external tracker and I'm going to go back and remove lip syncing. And I am going to connect iFacial mocap to vMagic Mirror. What I'm seeing on my iPhone screen is saying connect to the software. On the PC side, your iPhone IP address is blah, blah, blah. I've typed this IP address in here and I'm going to press connect. And now we are connected. So we are successfully paired on my iPhone. Now, if I make additional gestures on my hang on, let me just calibrate this. So I'm kind of being very expressive at the moment with my motion. I'm moving up and down very quickly. It's a lot more tailored to how I'm actually talking in real life rather than just using the audio input. If I tap my key again or my laptop again, you see that it doesn't move. So I prefer utilizing an external tracker just because of the higher fidelity of the motion capture. And again, I think it's a couple of dollars on the App Store, but in my opinion, kind of worth it. There's also with this a lot of customization options available. So we have all of these parameters: mouth smile, eye squint, eye wide, and these can trigger different animations. So if I am smiling, and it's picking up that my facial blend shapes are 40% more I don't know what the best way to describe this is, but in comparison to a neutral pose, if I'm smiling at a rate that's 40% higher in comparison to that neutral pose, it will automatically apply a happy uh, animation or happy state to my avatar. I'm going to show you I'm going to smile like crazy and it's not picking up that. So it's basically a catalyst for getting to a state. If you have, if it's, I'm smiling here, but maybe you can't notice it as much with this avatar. But if I apply this to happy, it just makes it a lot easier. And it's just basically utilizing that 1 through 9 on the numpad that I showed you before, but for different faces. And so you can do happy, angry, sad. You can do all your different vowels. You can, if I do, I'm going to do the same again. I'm smiling, but it's triggering the surprise state. And I can keep my lips synced while being in that state as well. I'm kind of learning on the go here as we go through this for some of these options, but it's all very intuitive. So I'm going to keep the external tracker. I'm actually going to get rid of this, or I'm going to make it really high so nothing. Actually, I'll just do nothing on all of them because I just want it to be what is coming through the iPhone. Okay. Um, Next is accessories. So I do some DJing sometimes in virtual worlds where I'm actually VTubing and I have what's Tractor is an app that's used for MIDI controlled DJing. So sometimes I kind of just fake that I am on a Tractor setup and I'm wondering where this is going at the moment, but see, I've got a lot of windows and cameras up at the moment, but maybe instead of that, I'm gonna load in my Doodles character. So you can see that my Doodles NFT is floating above me. As I move my head, it's kind of there, which is cool, but I don't really want that. So I'm going to change, because right now it's attached to my head. It could be attached to my right hand. So if I start typing, there goes my doodle jumping around. I want to attach it to the world. So now it's in world space and it will be, you can also see it's animated. This is taking a GLB file or a PNG file. So it can be an image or a 3D model and it's incorporating it into the scene. So, let's say, for example, I want, instead of a mouse and keyboard, I want to actually put a real keyboard in there or some form of branded DJ booth. You can use a PNG or you can use a 3D model for that. If I want a character in the background of my setup, maybe I have an assistant or a pet or any other 3D model, I can incorporate that into the world. So I'm going to change the position and I'm pretty sure there should be, yeah, free layout. Excellent. I've never noticed that before and that is extremely helpful. But it's not actually showing me the model I want to change. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to adjust these parameters quickly. Okay, so Y is the height, and I'm going to rotate my model 180 degrees, and now it's front facing. I'm going to bring this down to 0. Okay, excellent. And I'm going to push this back. I'm assuming Z is front and back, so let's try 0.5. Okay, let's bring it further. I'm going to go minus 0.5 behind me. I want it to go a bit further behind me. Actually, I'm going to turn the scale down to 0.8. And I'm going to bring this back up to 1. Okay, and I'm going to move this to 0.3 and 3.5. Cool. So now I have a little doodle behind me. So that's cool. I'm going to keep him there, but you can load in as many as you want. I actually create full scenes with like mini crowds that stand behind me and dance. So if I load this guy in, Del Toro, he can go down as well. I'm not going to do this too pretty fast. Last one. So minus 1.5 and 0.5 minus 1. There we go. And I've done this completely incorrect because he's now attached to my head. So I'm going to get rid of him. But if I did that in world space, it would work. Sorry about that, Tori. Great. On to the next bit. Now, hand tracking is available. It basically uses a simple version of hand tracking. I'm not 100% sure what package is incorporated into it. I'm going to show you another platform that has slightly better hand tracking. And this only comes with the full version, I think. I tend to not use it just because it's clunky. It doesn't really work all that well. And I just like the simplicity of the keyboard, mouse, and game controller. I'll also add, while I remember, on top of game controller, they have MIDI controller. So if you're doing any type of MIDI-based performances, it can incorporate that. Or if you have any other type of trigger that utilizes MIDI, you can use that. Great. So that is the first set of settings. Now we go to the settings window. And this gives us a whole overlapping set of settings. I can change the background color. I can add different transparency. So if I'm pointing my mouse, is that working? If I make this transparent, it should work. So uh, there's different levels. Like if I go across here, I can move my character setup. And this is just kind of a highlighting option. I don't like that because it gets in the way if I'm doing a stream and I am wanting to be showing something, but know that my mouse is going to overlap with the character. I don't want to go to transparent. You can also set the alpha, so the level of transparency. Why is that not working? I don't know why that's not working. Oh, I did it the wrong way. So I think I did it the wrong way. Anyway, you can have a play around with that. The okay, this has got the same settings again. I don't really understand why there's so much overlap. There is blend shape interpolation, so the smoothness of how I get from one blend shape state to another. I haven't really toyed around with this all too much, but you can. Uh, you can use different defaults blend shape setups. So if I want to be just a sad VTuber, that can be my default state. And if I want to be surprised or if I want to be angry, I'm just a pissed off VTuber, I can do that. Okay, I don't know what offset blend shape is, so I'm not going to do that. Motion, again, same settings. Not really sure why. If I'm doing hand tracking, you can do different settings according to that. There's also different periods, like if I put my hands up and then just drop them down, it you can change the periods in which it will drop down. So maybe if you drop your hands down in real life, maybe you want the hands to remain in the air for 5 seconds. You can do that there. Then you do different layouts. So again, this is a bit weird, but we only saw gamepad in the previous one, but I can also incorporate a MIDI controller. So if I'm using like an MPC to make beats, like that's a really cool use case for VTubing and can be incorporated here. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it. Okay, and now there's additional gamepad options. I haven't really seen this, but you can play around with that. I have assigned keyboard 0 to 9 to all of these different states as we showed previously. There's hotkeys for doing different, let's say, if I type 3, then I can be in a different camera pose. And I actually am kind of looking for something at the moment. I must have lost it, but it enables me. Let's see if I can quickly find it. Again, there's so many bloody settings that it's hard to keep track of. Um, okay, no. Basically, you can set different. Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing. So that's why hands, same window, motion. I've lost it, but similar to these hotkeys, if I want to do, you know, say Control Shift 1, and that is going to do camera pose 1. And this is where we saved our camera poses before. Camera pose 2, camera pose 3. If I have this done, I'm going to get out of here. If I press Control Shift 2, I'm on my different camera pose. 3, so on and so forth. So this is just really handy because now I have all of my different animations. I can go clap and I can clap from this view. I can clap from that view. And it's just a really easy way to create something that's a lot more dynamic in changing camera angles. It's like real-time virtual production while VTubing and using different animations. So that's kind of the overview of the Magic Mirror. Now, I can't really do this as effectively as I wanted to because I'm currently running a platform called OBS, and that's how I'm streaming this. But the way that you would take this character and stream it is through a platform called OBS. So I'm going to it's open broadcaster software. It's completely free to use and download, and it is very versatile because it allows you to take different applications, take your webcam, to take a lot of third-party plugins and incorporate it into a stream. That's really a whole nother 5 hour long tutorial, and I know there's stuff on YouTube, so I definitely recommend looking into it. But I'm kind of going to do a window view here to show you what the interface looks like. In this, I have different scenes set up. So basically, different frameworks or different templates to what I want my scene to look like. I have different sources. So if I go in and add a source, I can add in any form of audio capture, video capture, text, images, slideshows, game captures, and layer them on top. So let's say, for example, what's the best way to do this? I'm going to try. What am I going to try? I'm not going to try anything. You can play around with it, but you get the gist. You can add layers on top of your stream, and it just makes it a lot more dynamic. You could have, I know there's different Twitch integrations. I know there's different Discord integrations, and you could have like a webhook set up potentially to bring in your Discord chat or your Twitch chat within the viewer, and so you can run that on the side panel. And I'm sure you've kind of experienced that as well if you've seen other VTuber setups. So OBS is what you want to be streaming through, or what I use to stream through. And to actually stream through to a platform, you can see that I'm currently streaming. If I go to my settings and go to stream, you can change the parameters of this to match where you're wanting to stream. So there's direct integrations with YouTube, with Twitch, with Vimeo, a couple of others, but you can also use different protocols that will allow you to stream directly. So, I stream to multiple virtual world platforms by utilizing a URL and a streaming key. I also do some LinkedIn stuff. They do it the same way, where you have a URL that you're streaming to and a key that allows you to stream to it. So that's typically how it's done. And once you get up and running with it, it may look complex by all this that's going on the screen. It's really not. You set up a screen, you add in a source. I typically just do a full display capture, which captures everything that's seen on my screen, and you're good to go. I'm going to go minimize that again. How are we on time? 8:48. Excellent. I want to touch on a couple of other applications, and you're going to see me disappear now because it's just going to be way too intensive to run things side by side. So I'm just going to go back to our settings and close out. Awesome. Now, where are we? What tab? So there's another application that's pretty recent, or at least I don't know when it was initially released, but it's relatively recent, and I really like what they've done because the Magic Mirror, as you saw, the hand motion didn't work all that well. But VRig Unity is something very similar to the Magic Mirror. It definitely isn't as comprehensive, so there's not as many customization options, but it does really well as it pertains to hand tracking and arm tracking. So I'm going to pull that up quickly. VRig Unity. I'm going to then go into my settings, select my Anon 3, and I can position this character, but there we go. There I am. Again, like there's not really shift to pan. Okay, maybe there is control to rotate. The fidelity is not great, as you can see. It's running the toon shader, but it's not what I want. But if I go into my camera and I go into, let's just see if I can refresh this. I didn't consider this. So I think because OBS is running, oh no, I'm an idiot. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go start camera. This is using my laptop camera. You can see that the mouth is moving kinda, but if I put my arms up and my fingers, it works really well. It's incorporating, and I believe it's a Google thing. I always forget the name, but it's called MediaPipe, and it's an open source, I believe, protocol that can be incorporated into different platforms. So they've done it here, and again, this is relatively recent because I really like what MediaPipe can do in terms of tracking, but I haven't seen it pop up, and this is V0.4. So again, I think it's pretty new, but it's got really dynamic motion for just a basic camera setup. Now, you can do a ton of different customization with hand tracking, with like actual physical trackers like Vive trackers, this, that, and the other. But that's a lot, and really, I just want to show you how to get up and running. So again, you can stop testing this, but it's not as good, in my opinion, as VMagic Mirror. Or currently, it's not in the state that I would choose this over VMagic Mirror. But I wanted to show you anyway, because obviously it has the benefit of really good hand tracking. There's one thing I'll say, and I'm not going to get into this in too much depth, but you see up the top right, there's this VMC thing. VMC is, I'm going to forget it, so I'm just going to go to the web page. VMC protocol is the Virtual Motion Capture Protocol. Now, what this does is it sends information about my facial blend shapes, what my mouth is doing, what my eyes are doing, what my hands are doing, my upper body. So it's taking the blend shape data and the bone rotation and position data of the skeleton, and it's packaging that up and sending it via Wi-Fi to other applications that can receive that data. So the protocol allows a sender and receiver, and the sender can port that data across. So if I was sending this data, I could port this full motion capture data across to another platform like Unity, like Unreal, like Blender. And so I'm not going to, again, show you how this is incorporated, but I will show you what it looks like. So this is someone utilizing the VMC protocol and sending all of that data that we just showed through to Unity, Unreal, and Blender. I'm going to start that again. So if I add this into Unity, you can press play and it will allow you to stream. You basically create a port that the data can be sent through utilizing your IP address, and you see that it's not really that easy to see, but you can see that there is a application down the bottom left that is sending this VMC data through to Unity, and it's rendering. In here, we're looking at a live scene that's incorporating it. So currently, VMC, there is support for Blender, Unity, and Unreal. And if you're wanting to get really, into the VTubing thing, the VMC protocol is a great way to send data to these larger platforms that don't have the ability to load in a VRM and just start full upper body motion capture out the gate. One way that I have done this in the past, and I don't have the example up at the moment, but I have done this in Unreal, where I've sent data from the VMC protocol through to Unreal to control my upper body and my head and neck rotation, but I have not done the facial tracking. I used Unreal Live Link to do that, which means that I had a full upper body movement motion capture system utilizing just a web camera, and then using my phone, I used Live Link to do all the facial tracking. So I kind of combined the upper body with the head and the face, and that created a full VTuber setup. I can link you to a couple of examples after this of what that looks like. But if you're going to use a VRM model in something like Unity and Unreal, VMC is a really good way to do it. So look into it, and wherever you see this logo powered by VMC, that is something that allows you to send that data. Now, what were we just in? VRig Unity, that is that allows you to send that data. Another app, and this is not necessarily VTubing. I wanted to show it quickly though. It's called VRM Posing Desktop. It's created by a dev called Evelyn Game Dev, and it's really good at quickly posing data. So, quickly posing avatars. So, I'm going to go, and there's a lot of options here. So, where is our actual avatar? Oh, jeez. Here we go. I'm going to add in a VRM file. I'm going to go to my downloads and do anon. I'm going to click add. I'm going to delete my initial character. So there I am, in all my glory, posed. I can go here and I can select a ton of different poses. And this is great for, doing some quick renders, but it's also got the beauty of the VMC integration where I can link this across to, say, Blender and pull in this pose data. And I don't need to do any skeleton poses. There's a huge library of different poses. There's also these three different lots of poses, but you can go in here and there's a whole pose marketplace. So if I wanted to get the glasses pose, I could add that in, and I think that will add it in maybe. But basically, you can tap into these pose marketplaces. Everything's free, I'm pretty sure. And then you can send that data through to VMC, tap in your IP address, and then you type in the port that you want to send it across. You can send through the blend shapes and eye bones as well. And let's just see. Yeah. Another thing that I haven't talked about is that yeah, the VC Face, I would have a look at this as well. It's a really good VTubing app. I prefer Magic Mirror. I used to use VC Face all the time, but Magic Mirror just has those customization options that I like. But you can also send this pose data through to something like VC Face, or through to Magic Mirror to pose your characters while you are talking. So yeah, that was a lot, and I really hope that you got value out of it. My DMs are always open, but just to get started, go into Character Studio, make your character, download VMagic Mirror, either the free version or the full version. I'd definitely just start out with the free version, see what you're missing. If you need the full version, go for it, and then you can definitely test out VRig Unity. Download iFacial mocap if you want. It's $6, but it really allows for that more immersive facial experience. There's, tons of. I haven't shown you exactly what the VMC applications are, but there is VMC 4B, which is for Blender. And this is actually a really good video of what this looks like. So you can see here that it's sending that VTuber data through to the Blender viewport, and I can record animations, I can record renders, still renders, but this is all basically, and I'm going to pause here for a second, make this 1080. See, no, okay. So up the top right, you'll see this port, and there's an IP address above it. You just select the armature of your VRM. So you load in your VRM to Blender, you select the armature, you add in your IP and your port settings, and then you connect via VMC. You just run it, and that data will stream through. But really cool if you're a power user of Blender, Unity, or Unreal. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope there was value. Please let me know if there are any other questions. I'm going to probably go back to the chat for a minute and hang out there if there are. Follow me on Twitter at It's MetaMike, and I have currently got 3 days left on a NFT drop that I've done. Just go to itsmetamike.xyz if you want to check it out. It's a virtual world experience, this time built in Hyperfy. It allows you to mint the pieces in world. They're all 3D assets. There's a story behind why they were created and how they were created, and that's my little shill right at the end. So hopefully hear from some of you soon, see some of your creations, and cheers to the Webaverse team for making this so quick and easy for anyone to come in and start VTubing. Amazing platform, amazing tech, and something that we'll see more of as time goes by. You guys have a great night, and thank you.